Pro-Israeli protesters at the University of Mississippi were caught on video mocking a black pro-Palestinian protester in the most racist way. So this is a video that was posted by Stacy J. Spieler, and you could see in that one guy making racist monkey noises and gestures before others were, basically chanting, "Lock her up!" The best people, the greatest people. These are your pro-Israel, genocide protesters, by the way. Just in case you were wondering, okay, what side they were on here. Look, it shouldn't be shocking at all. The worst people imaginable would be against calling for the end of the ethnic cleansing campaign being waged by the right-wing government of Israel. After all, I mean, they're only Palestinians, right? But dehumanized by mainstream media and politicians on both sides to such a degree that not wanting them to be wiped out earns you the title of terrorist, and basically green lights if you're happen to be a woman of color, having people do racist gestures and monkey noises at you. Now, Mississippi Free Press journalist Ashton Pittman had also reported frat boys throwing food, drinks, and bottles at them. Now, again, frat boys, all right? These are on the pro-Israeli side. I mean, the obvious question is, why aren't the police after them? No, the police were protecting them. So here's the thing. If you peacefully occupy a campus building, right, the cops will obliterate you. They will destroy you. They will crack open your skull. They'll shoot you with rubber bullets, all right? And you're not supposed to shoot people with rubber bullets. You're supposed to shoot near them with rubber bullets, okay? It's less than lethal. It doesn't mean that it's not lethal. If you get hit by a rubber bullet in the right place, you will be killed, or you will lose an eye, or you will, be injured in some way. So, look, again, that's what the peaceful protesters are getting. But if you are on the pro-Israeli side, you shoot fireworks into an encampment, you pepper spray them, you assault them with weapons, like they did at UCLA, the cops will just sit there and let it happen. They'll just be like, you're on the side of ethnic cleansing? Great. Have fun. Have at it. One woman who was there at UCLA said that law enforcement had allowed these pro-Israeli protesters to terrorize us all night long while they did nothing. The 37-year-old said that California Highway Patrol officers had showed up briefly and drove off like it was none of their business. You're just going to attack this encampment? Go ahead. Have at it. You're just doing our job for us. We're going to go off and have a donut or something, all right? Now, look, let me be very clear, though. I do not want anyone beaten by police, all right? We all have a First Amendment right, all right, to protest. I mean, that's what's spelled out in the Constitution. And so the crackdowns in these protests are unconstitutional, okay? Now, what I'm pointing out here, though, is that state violence seems to only happen to the left when members of the left protest. People who are pro-peace. In fact, this country has a long history of cracking the heads of protesters who happen to be on the side of peace and against wars. And again, when it does happen, who cheers it on the most? The right wing. And then, of course, when there's very mild pushback from police, like, for example, on January 6th, when, people that were convinced of a lie, okay, tried to not only beat police, but tried to, get into the into the Capitol building, all right, to try to take it over, because I think that Donald Trump won the election Cops very grudgingly fought back. As these, these MAGA chuds were carrying flagpoles and sticks and other weapons and sprays, chemical sprays. Were the students doing any of that? No. It's a double standard. Now, the response here from one of the Republican representatives is even more ridiculous and disgusting. This is Republican Representative Mike Collins, who had posted this video on Twitter and wrote this: Ole Miss taking care of business. Oh, okay. Well, that's how you think, right? Ole Miss taking care of business. Let me tell you what.
The Republican Party's racist.
How much more clear can it get? All right. So now Pittman had called them out with him writing, "A white Ole Miss frat boy dances like a monkey and makes monkey noises near a black woman who is protesting for Palestine." Is this heartwarming? Well, look, if you ask a Republican, yes, it is heartwarming. They love it. Oh yeah, bring it back, bring back that old school racism. Oh yeah, we love it. Nina Turner called them out as anti-blackness. Okay, and when she did that, this guy doubles down and says, no, it's not. It's anti-terroristness. Oh, good to know that they only think that people of color are capable of terrorism, which is why they never called out the white domestic terrorists who have perpetuated the majority of attacks in this country. That's right. And not only that, they have to lie about the campus protests. And you may not be aware of this. You may be aware of this, right? Of all the media coverage in mainstream media, it's something MSNBC and CNN and Fox News have all shared in, is demonizing these protesters. According to a report from the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, the ACLED, which is an NGO specializing in crisis mapping, the vast majority of protests were vastly peaceful. 99%. But what you hear on mainstream media is they're violent. They're pro-Hamas. They're pro-terrorist. That's what you hear. Now, the report says, while some notable violent clashes have recently taken place, such as on the University of California, Los Angeles campus, where demonstrators and counter-demonstrators fought at a student encampment overnight on 30th April, the overwhelming majority, 99%, have remained peaceful. So now remember, what happened on the UCLA campus is that you had a bunch of counter-protesters that rolled up and started shooting fireworks and throwing things into the encampment. And that's where the cops did absolutely nothing. Demonstrations involving students make up roughly 1/3 of all U.S. demonstrations related to the conflict since it reignited in October 2023. Between 7th of October 2023 and 26th of April 2024, over 90% have shown support for Palestine. And those are the ones that got the most police presence. The people that are the most dangerous here, the ones that are causing the violence, are cops and pro-IDF protesters. That's it. In fact, an officer had fired a gun inside Columbia University's Hamilton Hall. Now, thankfully, nobody was injured. But still, look, setting the police in is not what you should have been doing, all right? It's not what the colleges should have been doing. Now, there's a good example here of what they should have been doing, and that's Rutgers. Now, Rutgers came to a peaceful resolution to their protests. Why? By actually talking to the students. And you know what happened? The students took down their encampment. That's it. What the students are asking for is for their college to divest from weapons manufacturers that are sending weapons and money to Israel, bombs, to use against Gaza. That's what they're asking for. Just divest. That's it. I don't want my tuition money being used to fund a slaughter. And these colleges, instead of doing that, like, no, we're going to call them the cops. We're going to call them the riot police to crush your skull after we have your money. Lovely. Now, Northwestern and Brown also came to a peaceful resolution with their students. Now, in Texas, remember, University of Texas in Austin also had police coming in and cracking protester skulls because no, there were guns, there were weapons, bricks, steel and forced wood planks, mallets, chains. The protesters that were pro-Palestinian, they're actually terrorists. No, turns out according to the Travis County Attorney General's office, there was no evidence to back claims by the university that people among the pro-Palestinian protesters had any of those weapons, had any weapons at all. That was a flat-out lie by the college to get the cops involved. The Attorney General also said that the high numbers of misdemeanor arrests of protesters were unsustainable. That is wasting taxpayer money on these militarized police to go crush students. But that's what this is. This is a right-wing crackdown on peaceful students who do not want their tuition money to be used to support what's going on in Gaza. That's simple. They don't want this war. They want a ceasefire. Wanting a ceasefire does not make you a supporter of Hamas. It makes you a supporter of peace. But here you have MAGA, police, racists, Zionists, and there's a lot of overlap in those categories. But then you also have Democratic and Republican politicians and mainstream media all attacking and smearing these protesters as terrorists, as violent, as pro-Hamas, as all of these terrible things. And there's not a shred of evidence, a shred of proof that they're any of these things. But you can see the other side. That's what the other side looks like. Racists,